Good morning, everybody. This is Charles, and hopefully you're hearing me okay, and maybe you're seeing me also on the screen. What I'm really interested in is can you see my main screen here? I'm hoping that you can. If I can get a raise of hands, if you see my screen that says speed up checkouts with a scannable reference book, I see you. Thank you, Bernadette. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, others. Well, this is quite a large turnout today. I'm really excited about this. It's going to be a quick presentation, painless, and hopefully give you lots of good information you can take away from this to help expedite the checkout process for your customers. I am recording this presentation, so it will be available to watch after this at any time in the next 24 to 48 hours. We will publish it on the webinars portion of our help portal that you can get to. All right, so my name is Charles Owen. I thank you all for coming and showing up today. Like I said, this is going to be pretty quick. We're going to talk about speeding up the checkout process with a scannable reference book. So a lot of us have sticky papers all around our cash register that show different things that don't necessarily have a barcode, but we need to scan it or we need a number on it. Some of you go so far as to have a nice book next to the cash register, or multiple books. You might even get books from your suppliers or manufacturers. So that's what we're going to talk about: putting together kind of a very quick access book and making it simple so that you can quickly get to the information you need, scan it, and get the customer through the line. I had an interesting experience this weekend. I went and I had to buy some bricks, and I just needed 4 bricks, and I got to the counter, and it took them a long time to figure it out. And if it wasn't a big store, I would have just gone back and got the number and come back up to the counter. But they went through the manufacturer's book of every brick, and it took quite a while to get the information. So what we're going to learn today is how to kind of summarize that information and organize it into a single place that's going to be easy to get to. So we're going to talk about our goal and purpose of today's webinar, how to build the catalog, and how to put together this book, making barcodes scannable. It is a kind of a secret in the barcode scannable world how to do this. Simple once you learn it, but it's good to know. I'm going to show you a page out of the book, how that looks. We're going to talk about how you can print the book or the catalog, and then you might consider alternative methods, that is multimedia methods, so you don't have the hard paper, hardback, or a binder next to you. So let's start with the goal and purpose. So our goal is to expedite the checkout process. That's what's in the title itself, right? Also to help maintain accurate inventory. So you don't want to just put in items and push it through as a generic dump SKU. You would rather have it in the system and decrement properly from the system. We also are going to provide a consumer convenience. That's what the goal of this is. And also cashier convenience. So again, it's all about getting the customers through the line, making sure we scan the proper items. And this could be everything from bricks, pavers, soil, equipment that doesn't necessarily come through the line, fasteners, and those types of things. And we want to be able to put together one of these books, these binders, these catalogs, and construct it for longevity. So once you put it together, you don't want to have to go back and change it every week. So we're going to keep things like prices out of it, because you need that flexibility to be able to change the prices without having to go back and change all the books at the cash registers. All right, so that's our goal. How do we build this catalog? Well, it's pretty simple. First of all, let's organize it. Let's figure out and construct it of what we're going to do. Determine departments and the items to be featured. And departments could be your categories or your tabs in the book or the binder. Organize and create an outline of the table of contents. So make it simple. You don't want to make this real complex at point of sale, but you also want to make it easy to find things in the document. Start with gathering photographs and taking pictures. I mean, you can go so far as to put anything you want in this book that you're selling. It could be from a local vendor. May not necessarily have you know, a barcode or UPC code on it. That's specifically what we're talking about here. Use available manufacturer catalog pages. You could even take a copy if you want and put it into, slide it into your book, or even scan it into the system and pull it into your own word processing, so you'll have both the barcode and the picture of the item as well. And use a publishing program or word processor. I use Word. It's very simple. I always make in the book, I always have put 2 pages. If it's back to back, you print it on one piece of paper. That's great. You slide it into a clear cover. That will protect it. So those clear covers, they make some really good ones. Some are kind of brittle and they get old, and over time they start cracking, but then you have the real flexible ones. Any type of a clear cover is going to be better than nothing, but definitely get one that has some resistance, that's not going to be damaged or destroyed. You're going to be going through it a lot, so you want to make sure that it's pretty hardy. But putting it in a clear cover is better than just having a piece of paper or a hard copy of some sort. And then as far as a binder, put it in a binder. In the binder, you're going to have a cover page. There's a spot to put a title. You can title the book, and it could be, you know, outdoor products or yard items or lumber or whatever it might be. You can put as a title for that binder. So that's about how you talk about or think about building the catalog. So what about the barcodes? What's the big secret? Well, it's not really a big secret, but it is something that has to be done. If you just take a number and you change the font to a barcode font, it will not scan. It just won't. So what you have to do is you just put an asterisk right before the number and at the end of the number, in the beginning and the ending. And it will ignore the asterisk, but it will use that as to make it actually scannable. So that is the trick. So you can make up your own barcodes on items. It could be any number of letters or numbers or alphanumeric, doesn't really matter. The examples I show on this slide actually show you the UPC code. The first one on the left there shows the UPC code. The second one down below is more of a product ID, part number, or order number. And it really doesn't matter. As long as the item scans and it matches what's in Paladin, you're good to go. So once you create your document, let's say you create a document, I would put tables in it, put the photographs in it, and then you can put the number down below, whichever number you want. Again, it could be the UPC code or it could just be the product code. The smaller the number, the smaller the barcode. So once you do that, if you're using a terminal that has Paladin installed on it, you're going to have this font, code 39L. That code 39 will be on your font list, and that is a good font to use for this. All right, moving on. Here's a page out of the book. So this is just a page. I took some photographs. I actually had some photographs of some soil. And you know, what's important here is to make sure that you organize, categorize, and consolidate, and get as much as you can on the page as possible, because leafing through a bunch of pages is more difficult and takes longer. So if you can get as many as you can on a page, but you have to be cognizant of the fact that make sure that the scanner has enough room to just recognize the one that you're spraying. Because if it grabs another one to the left of it or to the right of it or to the top or bottom of it, it isn't going to be good. So you definitely want to have enough room to where you can scan the item. Now the example I use, the soil, bags of soil, they actually have barcodes on them, right? So you don't necessarily have to do this, But I show this example because you might actually have things that leave the nursery and go out into the trunk of the car, and then they come in and pay for it. And if that's the case, then you don't have a bag to scan. So this is just one of those examples. But you can use have a section for fasteners, like I said, have a sample for lumber building materials, all of your building supplies. There's just a number of different reasons why you would want to have something, a scannable book. Timber is a real good example because unless you're at a big box store, you're not going to have an actual barcode on the piece of lumber. Now you can do that with Paladin. You can actually print item tags, staple it right onto the piece of lumber itself. So when they come up, they just scan the end of that lumber and you got the UPC code. You have that option as well. But as you can see, I have this kind of shows you as a 3-ring binder. You want to make something where you can take it out and put it in. And you want the kind of binder that has the locks on it, because when I was at the store this weekend, they opened the binder and literally half the pages fell out when they opened it. They didn't have locks on those grips, and it just opened up and they spilled over. And then she was trying to look through and find the brick I was buying, and she said, "Oh yeah, this is it." I said, "No, that one is clearly not the brick I'm buying. It's a different color and a different size." So I don't think she ever did find the brick in the book. She just scanned another one that was 45 cents, and I said, "Yeah, that's good. Let's go with it." But organizing and categorizing is really important to putting this book together. So when you print the book, what's in the printing piece? Well, it'd be nice to use a color printer. If you got good photographs in there, or any photographs for that matter, you can have you can print it in color, so it'd be just easier to see, better contrast, and whatnot. Portrait, I like the portrait instead of landscape mode. Landscape is where it sits sideways. Portrait is when it's a tall page. And then when you print them, we want to print them like a book style, right? So you can just put the hole punches in them, put them in the book, and as you turn pages, you got a front, you got a back, front and back, and so on. And then just 3-hole punch them. That way you can easily pull pages out if you want to update them, or if they get damaged, and put them back in. Again, use those locking binders. And that's pretty much it for the book. Now, that seems pretty simple to do. Well, a lot of us are challenged with technology, right? I understand. You're challenged with maybe finding a word processor or a publishing program that works for you. Anything works. You can even use Excel. You can use Notepad, as long as it supports the barcode format and you want to put barcodes in there. Now, not everybody wants pictures, and that's fine too. You don't have to have pictures. It's not required. All right. I'm getting some questions here, which is great. You're right. Okay, so when I say portrait, this is the style I'm looking at. You're right. I was talking portrait. Now, this image we're looking at right now is the monitor. So what I'm trying to get across here is that you can also take the information that is in the book, scan it, and put it into an HTML format, and then it can actually come up under the Paladin F1 advanced lookup key. So if you do F1 and you do F2 second time, that brings up the vendor box of links. Well, I have a way that you can actually take the binders, these books, and put them into your multimedia. So you don't have to have the book there. You don't have to look for the book. You just do F1, F2, find the fasteners, or find the soil, or find the rocks, or the whatever it might be. And the information on how to do this is in a webinar called Pictures in Paladin. We can do that. So if you watch that, and if you like the fact of having the hardback book at the counter, don't even worry about this. But if you like to have a choice or an option where you want to put it both in the book and on the screen, absolutely have that choice. Are there any questions? I can answer questions right now if you have any. Got lots of attendees on this webinar. I hope this was good information for you. We have another webinar coming up in the near future next month that is going to be on the charity roundup feature. So Paladin has recently added a feature in the system where you can run charities for CMN or Red Cross or your local sports team. It doesn't really matter. Have a charity for building out your new section of your store, whatever it might be. But it could come up at the end of the checkout process, and it comes up and it prompts the cashier and it says, do you want to do a roundup? Meaning, if it's $4.19, do you want to round it up to $5 and take that roundup fee, and it just rounds it up for the customer to $5 and puts the rest in the kitty for you to towards your charity of choice. So stay tuned for dates and of when that one is. I believe it's the second Tuesday of May, but I could be wrong, and I'm sorry I didn't get that information before I started this. I don't see any other questions, so I am going to show you that I have just one reference manual for you, or one reference in the help portal, and that is taking this manual and somehow constructing it in a medium that you can see right within Paladin at checkout. So I have another question here, and I'm going to bring it up here. I need to make my screen larger. And it says, explain how to get the barcodes again. I'm sorry, I'm still unclear as to where to find them and how do we get them from our packaging. So, cool thing about this is it doesn't matter where the number comes from. And I'm going to go ahead and pull up a Word file on my system, and I'm going to show you how this is done to spell it out, make it easier to understand. So I have a Word document. It's just a blank Word document. And I'll notice on my fonts, I have a font on my font list that's a barcode right here. It's called Code 39L. Happens to be as one of my recently used fonts, but if I look through the list, I'll see it's right down here under C's for Code 39. And it should be there on every Paladin terminal because we load it default with the system. So if you wanted to make a barcode, you can either copy the UPC code or use the order number or any number that associates it with the item in Paladin. It could be one of the alternate numbers. Usually it's primary part number. You just start with an asterisk, put in the number you want, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, put another asterisk, and just highlight the item, go to fonts, and change my font. I have created a barcode, and that barcode, as long as it references that item, then it's you're good to go, as long as it references it in Paladin. All right, and I think that's it for the questions. Hopefully that made it a little bit more clear. Thank you again for your time. I appreciate it. I see people are falling off. We're at the end of our webinar, so that's totally fine. Thank you for your time again. Hope to see you again at the next webinar. Take care, everybody.